M19 or Core 2019 is shaping up to be a decent set, a set that is required. I think Wizards of the Coast made a big mistake by getting rid of core sets because they offer players, casual players, a jumping on point. Nobody really likes to jump in the middle of a block. It's just the way it is. You're like, oh, what's going on with this lore? What's the previous set? When's this set done? Core is always a great time for returning players because you had simpler mechanics, a lot of reprints, simple core Magic the Gathering. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Core 2019, but also kind of a sad realization I finally accepted about it. And we'll get to that a little bit later because I think it's really important to look at. Now, the set itself looks pretty good. You have, again, the purpose of core sets, okay, is not to have mind-blowing cards. It's to get people into the game, to get people back to the game. It's really hard, even for Wizards, to screw up a core set as long as they keep it simple, stupid. Of course, being banned for life, I will not be able to attend this pre-release, but core set pre-releases have always been my favorite because it's always just a return to simple Magic the Gathering. When things were simple, when you could feel good about Magic, was always core sets. If you didn't like the blocks before or you weren't pumped up about the blocks after, it just didn't matter. You had your core set. You had a Johnny, you had Liliana, you had Chandra, you had Jace, you had Garrick, and that was your core set all the time. And now we see some change here that I want to talk about, but let's look at the Planeswalkers, a Johnny Adversary of Tyrants, a 4-mana Planeswalker that protects itself in a way. It's only good when you have creatures on the battlefield, but this is what a Johnny does. He's great in decks that go wide and they make creatures bigger. Now you can return target creature card with converted mana cost of 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. In a way, you could stretch it and say that way it protects itself, but I actually think this Ajani is pretty good. His ultimate with at the beginning of your end step, create 3/1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. This is good. In 4 turns, this is a good vanilla Planeswalker. It may even see standard play, I'm not sure, in some sort of white weenie deck. Tezzeret, Artifice Master, 5-mana Planeswalker. They've got to be powerful. His +1 gives him a 1/1 Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Now, you could play this in a blue-red Thopter deck. Interesting. 0, draw a card. If you control 3 or more artifacts, draw 2 cards. Now, this, again, in a blue-red Thopter deck, not bad. -9, you get an emblem at the beginning of your end step. Search your library for a permanent card, put on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. I mean, if you have a finisher in your deck, it's good. 9 loyalty is a long time, but Tezzeret does protect himself. Liliana. Now, we see a kind of a return, a thankful return to the sultry Liliana. 4 mana, 4 loyalty walker. +1, put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard. If at least one of them is a zombie card, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Again, it fails the first step of a high quality walker and protecting itself. But you know, it does have some removal with the -2. Target creature gets -2/-2 till end of turn with X to the number of zombies you control. But she's only good if you already have a good amount of zombies on the battlefield. Now, the -3, though, you may cast a zombie card from your graveyard this turn, is good. Obviously, it's not place a zombie card into play. She's okay. She's not the type of walker I don't think that is gonna be that great in limited. Maybe in draft, if there's enough zombies to support her, you draft, pack one, pick one Liliana, the dream, and then you draft every zombie you see. Sarkhan, Fireblood, 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Now that's spicy, +1, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Okay. Plus, the other +1, you may add 2 mana of any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragons. Very flavorful. And in -7, create 4 5/5 dragon creature tokens with flying. Now, this is an ultimate. This is a true ultimate. Sarkhan Fireblood is pretty good. I mean, you win the game the next turn, probably, with that ultimate. Now, it takes 4 turns to get there, but that is an ultimate. This is not an ultimate. -9, that's pretty good. This is the best ultimate. Now, Vivian Reed, super boring copy pasta from a previous Planeswalker. And I want to touch on the green Planeswalker choice here in a minute. The sad realization that I came to, but 5 mana, 5 loyalty walker, fine. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. And then put the rest on the bottom in any order. Again, doesn't protect itself. -3, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Meh. And you get an emblem, creatures you control, get +2/+2, have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Fine. Again, really basic, probably the worst of these 4 planeswalkers. You don't really want to open it in limited. Well, I guess any planeswalker in limited is generally good because you're probably going to get your dough back. But we look at Resplendent Angel, Omniscience, Bone Dragon, Apex of Power, and Scapeshift. Some good reprints, interesting cards. Resplendent Angel, very good. 3 mana, 3/3 flyer. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 White Angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Now, the life gain is totally a casual effect. You see it often in core sets, so it fits. A 3 mana, 3/3 flyer is often decent enough, especially with the pump. You give it +2/+2 in lifelink, so late game, it gets much better. 5/5 flyer with lifelink, or extreme late game, maybe it's a 7/7 flyer with lifelink. Omniscience, fine. Again, this is more of a commander card. Late game, by the time you can cast this, you probably don't have many cards in hand. If you work around it and you have cards in play that allow you to draw, like Tezzeret, for example, this would marry up really well. Bone Dragon, a 5 mana, 5/4 flyer. You can pay 5, exile 7 other cards from your graveyard, return Bone Dragon to the graveyard, from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. Pretty good. You can probably, it's a 5/4 flying with recursion. Maybe you cast it 2, maybe 3 times, unless they've found a way to exile it. Apex of Power. Everyone loves a 10 mana spell. Exile the top 7 cards of your library until end of turn. You may cast non-land cards exiled this way. If a spell is cast from your hand, add 10 mana of any one color. If this spell is cast from your hand. So, very strong. 10 mana. It's fun to think about casting. Scapeshift, very good. Sacrifice any number of lands. Search your library for up to that many land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. This is a great way to thin your deck. A lot of people are like, what? When you're playing any, really, deck, but let's talk about limited. You have late game, you have 7 mana on the battlefield. You only have 20 cards left in your deck. You cast this, you bring in, every card you cast after that's probably gas. Scapeshift is very good. You have Shield Mare, Surge Mare, Plague Mare, Lightning Mare, and Vine Mare as a cycle. Very cool. These are all decent. Shield Mare is a 2/3, can't be blocked by red creatures. Plague Mare, again. These are just fun cards. Nexus of Fate, again, this is the whole take an extra turn hoopla, fine. It's a strong card, not necessarily unlimited, but if you plan around it, you can go infinite. Gin of Wishes, I would have liked to see a little more, honestly, more reprints, more vanilla reprints. But you've got stuff like Goblin Trashmaster, which is fun. I like the kind of the goblins versus zombies. Just go back, goblin, zombies, knights, spirits, and hydras. These are all very core set flavor. I think M19 looks great overall. I'm really looking forward to not getting allowed to play pre-release or in any sanctioned events for Core 19, but that's the way it is. When you post memes on the internet, you're not allowed to play Magic the Gathering. So you know, I'll still get to play. I can play in Arena probably. I can use some of my alt accounts. Johnny's Pride Mate, again, the +1/+1 life link is pretty good green-white tactic in core sets usually. You got cards like Horizon Scholar, it's very good. Gift of Paradise for ramp. This is all the stuff you want to see in a core set. Lightning Strike, Tectonic Rift, Volcanic Dragon. You've got the 6-mana dragons, overall. But I want to bring up what the sad realization was with this set. And I think we're just not going to get Garruk back. Garruk is uniquely core set, in my opinion. He is uniquely Spike. He is an alpha male. He is a badass. He is the planeswalker most young boys think is the coolest, right? He is got that sweet axe. He's just ultimate in terms of the ultimate badass. Now, I think it goes without saying, I do have an opinion on this. Now, maybe Wizards will prove me wrong and release Garruk from his prison, but it's been so many years. And when you have cards like Garruk Relentless, you have Garruk Wildspeaker from M10, M11, Garruk Apex Predator from M15, Garruk Caller of Beasts from M14, Garruk Primal Hunter from M13, Garruk the Veil Cursed. You know, we have Innistrad. He is a core set planeswalker. And ever since the absolute faux outrage about Triumph of Ferocity, I don't think we're ever going to see Garruk again. I think you look at this card, okay, and some morons out there said that this was some sort of sexual scene, some sort of assault scene, which is totally absurd. Garruk, this is lore. Liliana cursed Garruk. He's there to kick her ass and nothing more, nothing less. This is what a man at the end of his rope fighting the person that cursed him would look like. Towering over her, showing just how primal and strong he is. That was it. It took a few morons to say this looked like something that it clearly wasn't, to get Garruk, what I think is just replaced by a totally forgettable planeswalker that's abilities are just copy pasted off another planeswalker from a set ago. Vivian Reed sucks. Nobody's going to remember Vivian Reed. You have a Johnny, Tezzeret, Liliana, Sarkhan. Why don't you have Garruk? You have Vivian Reed? Who cares? Oh, another woke planeswalker that no one's going to remember. I mean, Garruk belongs in the core sets. We know, in my opinion, there is no doubt that Wizards of the Coast is looking at that faux outrage from Triumph of Ferocity, and they've put Garruk in prison. He may never be released. They've replaced him with this lame-ass, forgettable planeswalker in the return of the core set, when a core set is where Garruk lives. That, my friends, outside of the set being great, has tainted it for me. Has made me realize that toxic male, that toxic alpha male is just never going to see the light of day in this new male Jace era world that Wizards is in. I think not including Garruk in M19 was on purpose, and it sucks because Vivian Reed is a lame-ass planeswalker, and her abilities are lame. And if you're going to have a vanilla planeswalker, at least give us Garruk, somebody we all love. Well, what do you think? Do you think Garruk is gone for good? Is there some lore reason I'm missing that he's not been around since that controversy? Do you think I'm crazy? I'm interested in hearing what you have to say in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.